Right.
So I call this meeting to order. Started?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, welcome to tonight's FNGP meeting. We'll crack on with the agenda. 22, 23, 45. Apologies for absence. So we've got two in the book. Councillor Carney and Councillor Kerdale.
Yeah, propose.
Second.
All in favour?
Yep.
Yeah, all right. Absence is accepted. 22, 23, 46 disclosures of interest to receive declarations of interest from councillors and items on the agenda. Is there anything from anyone in the room?
Nope.
No.
No.
Have we had any written
No.
dispensations? Okay. Moving on then. 22, 23, 47, the minutes of the previous meeting. Does anybody have anything to say? Any corrections?
No.
John, you all right?
Yes, fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just looking for. I'm just looking for my agenda
Well, can I
and stuff.
propose them?
Yeah, second then.
No, I read
All
them.
in
Yeah.
All in
I
favour?
wasn't here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 5 and an abstention.
22, 23, 48, confidential items to be discussed after item 61. Is there anything on the open part of the agenda that people think needs to be moved to
No, I don't
confidential?
think so.
No,
No.
no. We'll move on then.
Agenda.
22, 23, 49, public participation. And we have, as usual, we've got Jennifer here. Jen, if you want to speak and then say your bit, and then I want to let the councillors have a discussion when we get to allotments. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah. Can I just say a little bit about this tree work that you're looking at the quotes for? The trees are still growing. The ones in question have grown over 10 foot since the town council took over. And unfortunately they've increased significantly in diameter as well. When the work was first assessed by a reputable tree surgeon about 3 years ago, he suggested that the trees would have to be chipped to remove, in other words, we couldn't get whole logs out due to site and location. But it was only a week ago that I found out that each firm quoting for the work, the quotes that you've got, is suggesting virtually leaving everything on site. As there are 23 trunks between 9 trees, some trees consist of as many as 5 large trunks. To leave them in the area without really careful locating and stacking would be unthinkable. So I would ask, when you're thinking about these, to preference to be given to those companies who've suggested doing this carefully and neatly. Also, the boundary between the town council land and the Canal and River Trust land is not marked. So obviously we'd expect a company to liaise with us over where they could drop these trunks, because they're going to be with us 40, 50 years at least. And obviously we don't want anything left on plot 24, 25, because that's where we will be replanting. I'll just say that the planning application for these trees was passed in December 2021. Is that nearly 9 months ago? 8 months? When we take out the months of birds nesting, where we can't work, and the months of muddy paths, it doesn't leave us long to get this work done. Thanks.
Oh.
do you want to say anything just on volunteering and streaming as well?
Well, I thought
It's on the agenda, so it's just your opportunity if you want to say anything about it.
well, we've Ray was asked to put his 2 pence in over the risk assessment, the form of a risk assessment, which he did. So I think it's just you know.
Down to us. Okay.
Up to you.
Fine. Okay. So, thank you, Jennifer. We'll move on to 22, 23, 50, the allotments. And firstly, the allotment report. So there's obviously quite a lot in the allotment report.
Very comprehensive report, that's for sure.
It is a comprehensive report. It's just unfortunate that our allotment officer isn't here. I think it would have been really useful for some of the things that she's suggested
proposed,
and
yeah.
said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carry on, John. Sorry. You start talking.
Well, I find it really difficult, all this subject, trees, allotment sites, lack of allotment sites, what we're going to use, where we're going to use them. We've had a few site visits, we've had a few ideas between ourselves. And that one of the questions I'm going to ask tonight, what we're going to happen to the trees. I don't know. I am a bit lost where to go on this. Whether we should just bite the bullet and get all the trees taken out, and no matter what the controversy is, I personally have my doubts as regards the shading, but I might be wrong. So I'd say get the trees taken out, get that other one organised and taken, and the big tree taken out that it has to be applied for, and crown lift the others. But I don't know about about leaving the logs and stuff like that. I'd say I'd leave that up to the committee. That's just my view.
What's your view, Andrew? You've obviously been there and had a look.
Are you suggesting that they're all removed, John?
Yes. Now I wasn't concerned. I'm just saying that I still believe that it won't make that much difference. However, if we do get them taken out, and there's another issue as well, and that is trying to get some allotment plots for people on the waiting list. I still have me going by what Ruth said about the plot 23. There's still some suggestion that it'd be shaded, but I still also believe, and I know this is controversial, that there's a big area which is the community plot that could be turned into allotments, and I'd have almost total sunshine. But there again, that's controversial, I know, certainly with Jennifer, because she's had a lot to do with it. But
It's more than one person, it's a collective thing, isn't
absolutely
it?
right, yeah. But that's why
Jennifer only represents the...
I agree. That's so. Rather than anyway, I just wonder if it's a viable proposition. That's all.
Well, I took 4 trees down at the side of the station master's house, where we were asked to do it by network rail. I decided only to take 2 out at the time to see if the other 2 would recover or be a suitable specimen. The amount of, shall we say, backlash to take 2 trees out, I know it's the centre of Bingley this time, was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
We must have received over 100 letters of complaint.
Yeah, right.
That was having the caveat there that was retained 2.
Yeah,
The other 2 weren't sustainable. Much as we wanted to keep them, they had to come out.
right.
And shall we say, it wasn't very pleasant once my phone.
Oh, right. Well, yeah,
So the removal of any sort of tree, especially in this environment,
yeah,
and where we are today with greenhouse and all the rest of it,
yeah.
there are a lot of people that get extremely angry.
Yeah, you know my position on trees. The trees are. I don't want to take any trees out. I'm a tree person, but in this particular instance, Bradford Council's given us authority, so they must feel that it's not viable, what's the word, a genuine concern, the application, they've passed the application, haven't they? Read the
Are they
application.
self-seeded trees, John?
They are, yeah.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? They should have been
They are.
intended 2 years ago.
Many years ago.
Yeah, that's the problem, and
But, I mean,
now we've taken over
But-
the backlash of it all.
yeah, perfect, go on.
Go on,
Well,
I know
just
Robert
simply,
wanted to speak.
to me, all this issue is fairly easy. We should replace them with some new young ones.
Well, for me, I don't know how we can do that if,
No, I
if
don't
they're
either.
left in situ. You know,
Take the stumps out, haven't you?
well, you don't, you've got to do all that other work, and all the quotes we've got say they're just going to fell the trees, and yes, some of them are going to stack it up tidier than others, but everybody's leaving it all in place. No one's actually quoting to take any timber away at all.
So
I'm sure
then,
they can be stacked in a condition that would, you know, be good for the environment, because they like to, stuff like that for little insects and animals, don't they?
Yeah, but you might do that with the branches, but what are they going to do with the trunks?
There's a hell of a
Say,
lot.
well, it's the same with the, I know, but it's the same with the trunks, isn't it? You make the,
yeah,
make it up with, but
there's a lot of,
I don't know the
There's a-
particular side, I've not been
there's going to
around.
be a heck of a lot of, you just take, I know just from taking a few branches down,
Yeah,
the amount of bulk.
Bulk that you get from it, yeah, you do, yeah.
So,
So do we
Well,
think
no.
we think we should take any of them out, some of the smaller ones, to stop, because they are self-seeded and some of them are down as immature trees.
I think the ones that we discussed in the corner that are self-seeded and only this is about this in circumference, I wouldn't have an issue with. The people that I've spoken to that live opposite and locally are, shall we say, going to be in uproar if all of them are removed at once. We removed 2 over there, sympathetically, and there were 4. The backlash was phenomenal because it changed the scene. So as you can see from that particular drawing there, if those trees come out,
yeah, but they're not looking at it from there. They're not looking at it from there, they're looking at it from there,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
there's trees behind. So it ain't going to alter the aspect of people looking from those houses.
They're still going to see trees.
Pardon?
They're still
going to see trees, yeah.
but if you're taking a tree down from in front of a tree, surely you've still got the shading aspect.
Oh, you will have, yeah.
That is my, Andrew,
John's
that is my
point.
point, that is my whole point. The only small advantage of taking them out is just when the sun's just there, basically. So, you know, what do you think about that, Jennifer?
Well,
I
nobody.
mean, how much... How much advantage are we going to get from taking those out? Because that's my problem.
Well, the trees behind are lower down the hill, so they're further away and lower down. So you can.
Yeah, but the bigger tree, but the taller trees.
They're still the same height, I've looked.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
So what I can't understand is if you remove this and this is stood behind it, not to be offensive,
yeah.
you've still got the same shading.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So we don't think crown lifting and thinning.
I didn't say that on the other side, because if you read, will have done. If you read the
arboricultural
report,
Yeah.
it suggests that it would be an advantage to those plots if those were crown lifted. But it also added that it should be done sort of regularly, doesn't it? Within 5 years, it says.
Well, I think that's the same whatever, isn't it? If we
That's it, stuff grow.
lift and trim, stuff will still grow, and
yeah,
we'll need to redo it every
So
5 years.
So should we look at a compromise and take part of the trees out?
Well,
that we used to?
what Andrew and I
Sorry, getting rid of them.
initially were suggesting that we did the ones on the Guild side, which is one big tree, which has to be it's been verbally agreed by Bradford Council,
Yeah.
but it would have to be applied. It would be application would have to be made, and those number of trees crown lifted and the ivy doing. So it's.
I think there's got to be a compromise. There's a compromise in any situation. There are people that are saying don't, and obviously there's this lady here saying do.
Yeah.
But to me, you can't just put all your eggs into this basket because the others will immediately get very cross.
Well, long and short of it, if the ones that are on the canal side, it's a matter of no point in taking 1, 2, 3, 4 out. You either take them all out that's available, or take none out.
And the other problem is I've obviously got woodland myself. The outer trees are more, shall we say, stronger and sturdier because they've got to take the weather. If you cut woodland down and take the outer trees down, the middle ones, as you'll probably know yourself, don't have as many branches, they don't have as much leaf or anything.
Right,
Yeah, 'cause
okay.
it's light,
So they're
yeah.
taller and thinner because they've raced to the light.
Yeah, yeah.
So the only way they can get light is to the top.
Yeah,
So even if you left trees in this particular site, the ones that were remaining wouldn't have any much flora and fauna on the sides because obviously the trees are in a mass and obviously the green is only on the crown.
right.
We've ignored the legalities again, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me this legality, if you may, please? Is that all right, Chair?
Well, it is in,
I'd like you've said it before. I'd like you to explain this legality because I can't find it.
I think I get the legality, which is under the Allotments Act.
Yeah.
These plots
This is
are
a-
meant to stay as allotments.
What-
Obviously, when they were handed over to us from Bradford, they weren't in a condition that means
That's right.
So if they had been
working
utilised and
allotments.
used, surely these trees wouldn't have been permitted to grow for 55 years. That's my argument.
Yeah. Yeah.
I honestly don't see us bringing these back into being allotments, and even within this report, the suggestion is that they're not, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the point was to, whatever we grow there should enhance the allotments, i.e., you know, fruit and nut trees would be there for cropping, but also for biodiversity, which is so important for pollinations, you know, for getting the pollinators on the site. The bit that you were referring to is the Department for Communities and Local Government, and in their publication Allotment Disposal Guidance, Safeguards and Alternatives, January 2014, states in 1.5, where a local authority has purchased or appropriated land for use as allotments, the local authority shall not sell, appropriate, use or dispose of the land for any purpose other than for allotments without the consent of the Secretary of State.
With the greatest respect to that, if these trees were removed, how would you utilise that space for allotments? What are you going to do with all the tree roots, for example?
Well,
And the
as I
stumps?
say,
It's not usable, is it?
we would do our best to get lower trees growing that, as I say, would be a benefit to the allotments rather than as they are at the moment, which there's no wildlife in there. Even
So why is there a deer fence then, with the greatest respect, if there's no wildlife?
well, I was thinking more about birds and bees and.
Well, I've seen numerous.
But if you take the trees down, leave the stumps in, it's not pointless trying to plant other trees. They're not going to grow because you've got a root system underneath.
Well,
You've got to defeat the object.
But a sycamore tree, with the greatest respect to your knowledge, is a tree that, obviously, if you cut the top off, they used to use them for coppicing. So it will send out new shoots everywhere.
yeah.
So I would just like to understand what good is it to chop the trees down, because it can't be utilised as allotments, because all you're ending up with is thousands and thousands of small trees.
Well, they would have to be.
And who's responsible for that?
Yeah. Well, we are.
Well, we are, because it's our allotments. That's the
Well,
Catch 22, isn't it? Well, why don't we just attend to the corner of trees that you suggested, and let's progressively in a steady way and get rehash the quote so that we can get the wood taken away within the prices that's quoted. So we only have a certain amount of money that we can play with.
So of the
We're not a bottomless pit.
no, so we've got two things really. Then we've got, of the 13 trees that have been identified, is there any of them we think we want to go forward and do anything with? And then for the other site, do we want to go ahead and get planning permission? Because if we have to go and get planning permission, we need to decide exactly what we want to do. Because if we want to change the planning permission for the 13, I would think we only need to go back to Bradford. Well, we only want to go back to Bradford the once.
Well, when we, Andrew and I, and then I think yourself and David at the time were there as well. I think we sort of identified the tree. We thought the tree, because we can only
I
take
don't have
one
an
out.
issue with that.
No, I say it, we'd identified that,
Yep.
haven't we? So,
But is that
Can-
what's on this report under B as an identified tree? Because that's where I get.
It's the one on the back side behind the shed, isn't it?
yeah.
So out of those,
John, you've got your glasses, will you
I
look
know,
at it?
there's one there that says
know
fell
which-
that's a middle one. So
Yeah,
It probably
I
is.
can point it. I can't tell from there. I can't tell from a plan. No, I can
you could point out.
point it out from stood at the side of it. I mean, well, let's have an initial proposal that we do that work and the ivy work like we initially suggested.
And the saplings in the corner, I have no objection to whatsoever. Where the gate access panel is,
Yeah,
there were some new saplings in there, which obviously have been deprived of light. They're very, very tall, but very, very thin. So they'll just simply snap. So I have no objection to them coming out.
But do we need planning permission? We presumably we do.
it just depends how thick they are.
You've got it for those because it was part of the whole. If you're talking about the same ones,
Well, that's what I'm struggling with. Are we talking about the same ones? Because the ones we were looking at, I thought were on plot 24, i.e., just through the fence, and there's none on here on plot 24. They're all on plot 25. So that's the 13.
Yeah. I've looked at.
Yeah.
I've looked at other. I've got it on here somewhere.
which ones are you talking about? Are you talking about these small ones here? Are those the ones you're talking about?
They were in the corner where the access panel is in the
Well,
fence.
the access panel's there.
Yeah.
So that's
So there's small ones in the corner.
Yeah, I think they're all down as
that might be 1 and 2, which are down in the arboriculturist report as being
And to be
young.
very fair, they're not particularly good specimens of a sycamore tree. Even if you took the others down and left them in, they'd blow over.
Yeah.
So there's no need.
Let's progressively take them out.
Yeah,
And then we're not.
that's where I want to go.
No, well, we're not ripping hell out of them, then, are we? If we do that, then we can get them disposed of.
Yeah.
So that,
But we need to know which ones we're doing. This is the difficulty.
well, you know the ones then, aren't you? You know the ones.
I know the ones.
No, the
John
ones
does.
Oh, well, if you know the ones, let's just tidy them up and get a quote on it and do that. And reshuffle the pack.
So do we want to agree the ivy work? So
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Propose.
Yeah.
Second.
Oh,
I think that's-
approved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can get at least.
we do the ivy work.
Definitely.
we do the
Let's
ivy
make a
work.
bit of progress. It didn't. I know we're laughing, but it didn't at all funny. This is more serious thing. That's.
Well, it's becoming
This
a
is only
nightmare,
thing.
going on
It's
and on
really,
and on.
really, really bugging me.
And then we do want to take out some of the smaller trees and the one by the
the big tree that's is it the one at end of race plot?
no.
No, farther down in it.
If you go down from raised plots, there
Yeah.
are 3 large sycamores that are
No.
basically overlapping now.
Yeah.
And the one in the middle,
middle.
has got 2 trunks,
Right,
but the crowns are almost meeting it.
right. So is it that one with the 2 trunks that wants to go?
That's the one that the planning officer said, yeah.
Right. Okay. So
So is that? Do you know, Jen? Have you got this one? Is it one of these?
Yes, well, yes, it's that clump at the bottom.
It's this clump down there by
Yeah.
Ashgill,
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely.
where it says
that's good.
crown lift one, crown lift another one, and fell the one in the middle.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Right. Yeah. Is that clear to you?
So are we happy that we do all that work? So there was a
Yes.
fell in
Yes.
here.
Yes. The crown lifting and
The crown lift and fell in for the trees on
Yeah.
the side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The ivy.
That we need to go and get planning permission for.
Yes, we will. Yeah.
Right. Let's. I'll propose that.
I'll second it.
We'll get
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that looks
Then we're all in favour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Philip, can you just clarify that for me?
Yeah. B.
B.
B. B in the report.
Right.
Work B in the report. We're agreeing that we want to do, and I think was the IVC.
Yeah. I think
So
so.
we're agreeing B and C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our recommendation B and C, and on A,
defer it for,
Is there anything we want to do? It sounds like we don't want to cut down all the trees, but are there any, or do we need to go back and have another?
I think it'd be better to do it in
Walk-around.
stages. So it
Progressive,
doesn't
yeah.
progressive.
Can we leave it at that for now and relook at this, because it really is concerns me about practicalities, especially now that's been brought up about what you do with the timber. But I don't disagree with you.
But that's it. I mean, for me,
There's a heck of a lot of chip in that. You know, if
it would be. Do we want to do these at the same time as we're doing these ones up here?
Oh yeah, those small ones in
There's
the
no
corner.
problem with that.
No,
Those ones
They're
there,
allowed.
yeah. So we might.
but not that one down there.
Could we mark the ones so there isn't any confusion?
So that's what I'm trying to get to. So,
No, I meant actually be there and mark them.
Mark them up, we'll not mark the trees.
I'll mark them.
Yeah.
so the ones that are basically are alongside plot 24. So if I call them 1, 2, 3, and 4, are we saying we agree with taking them out?
Yeah.
That's at the back side, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
happy with that.
So we put in another planning permission for all the trees on the back side
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah.
Well, if
Or
they're self
ground
seeding, I
level.
don't think it'd be a problem for pulling them down, will there?
It depends how thick are they.
Well, when I measured them, some of them are 52 years old.
Oh right.
Because if you measure round,
No,
you
they're
go
not.
on
Yeah,
inches,
say they're
it
not.
tells
They're
you.
not down at
No, no.
3-inch job. No. Okay. Right.
Good.
So, all right, I'll propose 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
We
no.
do the work that I do,
Second.
which is
Second.
yeah.
Okay.
All in favour, yeah?
Yeah.
Staying on this one.
You're abstaining, one abstention.
You're doing right, Robert.
Right.
Okay, so that's the first bit of the allotment report. That's the trees and ivy clearance. Plot 27 is the one with the shed.
You want me to begin with this?
Are you going to give us a quote for it? Is that? Yeah, I'll begin. Carry on.
Well, I read the report and it's obviously rather confusing about this cross-contamination, if I can get the words out.
No.
Because
Yeah.
these bricks on this particular plot
Yeah.
were going to be put on the other plot
Yeah.
in order to form access. So there's nothing being brought into the site whatsoever.
No.
So cross-contamination, I don't get.
No. Well, I just think that's.
Twofold, you're not paying for skips, it's saving money.
Yeah.
The hardcore that we need is already there.
Yeah.
No one's bringing anything in, no one's disturbing anything. It just seems a logical idea to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
If you've got hardcore there already there,
Yeah.
to use it there.
Yeah. I agree. I do agree with that.
Seems logical,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems very logical.
I think that's just a resident having concerns because
I
they
think-
don't appreciate where it's coming.
I agree
Where
with
it's
that.
coming from.
That's exactly what I thought. Yeah. And then the others about seeding, but anyway, we need to address that.
The other part as regards to actually taking these said outhouses down, then obviously comes into the other section, which is the insurances.
Yeah.
So I can't answer one without having the other.
Okay. Well,
So are we not getting any quotes and so that it can be?
Well, I volunteered to take it down with Mr. Esseltine
Well, that's fine.
and leave the said
It's just
rubbish there.
It's just as and when, isn't it?
Until there was a skip available, which was going to be on a date, said specific date.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem was that somebody raised the issue of insurance. Now I'm insured,
Yeah.
3.5 million.
Yeah.
Mr. Esseltine's got the same because obviously we run businesses ourselves and we're insured.
Yeah.
But it was thought by some that the others might feel left out because they couldn't contribute even if they wanted to. So that was the problem why it couldn't be done. So that's why if you look under the insurance section, that's why that's there.
I'm just thinking progress because that plot's getting
Yeah.
thicker, grown and
Overgrown,
and
I mean, my last thought was we need quotes from people to do it.
yeah.
If insurance is an issue, if Andrew and David wanted to quote with their time being at 0, the only possible problem we've got there is if we get quotes from other people that have got no chance of winning, we're really wasting their time.
What's the issue? What is the insurance issue?
It's about volunteering on site.
to help
About
out.
people streaming, have you not read it?
Yeah, you know, I did read, but I wasn't fully clear on it.
Right.
But that,
For my insurance to work, I have to charge the nominal sum of £1. So if I want to work
No.
on your premises,
Yeah,
I thought you were doing the whole lot though.
I was taking those buildings down.
Yeah.
With David, who's got the insurances, we're covered.
Yeah.
No,
But the problem is that the rest of the council aren't covered.
Right, no.
Should anyone else wish
Wish
to help
to
them?
assist.
No,
Only councillors, not? I thought you mean allotment holders.
I'm too old and decrepit.
I don't know how it would work with allotment holders because my insurance is only for myself and my employees.
Of course, yeah.
It doesn't include members of the
No, no.
public.
Yeah.
It
But aren't we
public
insured anyway as councillors?
Yes,
We are, aren't we?
yeah.
We
Must
are,
be.
we are, but we're not. I'm not sure that it envisages us doing a lot of manual labour.
That's the question, can't
We
we?
can ask the
Sure.
question.
Same insurer had the issue with the.
Or it's a question of are there any councillors that would come and help anyway? So,
Can we get advice from the district council?
Fun?
well, it would be our insurers.
No.
It's their view and their
Against that.
It's not to do with the
their,
district
their
council.
view is
No,
that
it's getting
volunteers
volunteers who
have to
are
be.
in charge,
Yeah.
Well, can we not get Parks and Recreation to remove some of the stuff?
You don't know.
No.
Won't they do it? Or allotments from Bradford?
No,
they won't.
no.
If we
contract someone, even if it's Andrew for a quid, then we would have to arrange any removal.
Right, okay.
Because I'm more than happy to still volunteer to do it for nothing with Mr. Esseltine. Perhaps if we could have one paid labourer with us.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
think
the labourer would have to be employed
Yeah,
by
yeah.
me.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
my
that's right.
insurance
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Right.
yeah.
And it's
Why-
alright people
Why
saying
don't
it
we get
does,
on?
it
Why don't we
doesn't.
get on with it? Because it's
Yeah,
becoming
I know.
resurrecting its head again every meeting.
Yeah.
I think we go with you and a paid labourer and
Yeah,
myself.
do that, Andrew. We're happy to do that.
I will gladly do it for the community, yes is the answer.
Well, I'll propose it.
I'd second that, to be honest. It's really,
After I second
really
it,
kind
all
of
in
you.
favour?
In favour.
Are you upstairs? Oh, Robert's agreeing, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
we're all in
really-
We're all in favour then.
Right,
Marvellous.
And would you like to look at the insurance and just check?
We'll just check anyway.
Yeah, check.
Yeah.
Prudent into it.
So that's plot 27. Plot 23. We've obviously got a contractor that has never come and levelled it. We've got possible volunteers who are happy to trim it.
Right.
So
Is plot 23, sorry to interrupt, the one with the path?
That's one at down bottom.
it's the one at the bottom.
That needs the bricks tipped in.
Yeah.
It's the one that needs the slope down to it.
I'm happy to do that because obviously the bricks will be available when the other allotment's cleared.
So you tidy up plot 23.
So I will put a pathway to that particular gate
Good.
with the materials that are already there on site.
Right.
If I do need further chippings or something of that nature, I will ask.
Okay.
But obviously, a ton bag to me is about
Yeah.
70 quid.
Yeah.
So that would do the path, but then we've got, or do we then trim the plot and then we look at it and assess what we've got in terms
Looking
of
at
tree
what's
stumps
been
and
said and what we've looked at and the advice we've had regarding shading, etc., 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 I think the best thing to do is get it trimmed, get it sorted. I mean, to me, it wants weed killing for a start. I know it's a controversial issue once more, but there's in my view, there's a place for it, and it just wants cutting down for a start to get
a better view of what's there.
Not with nuking stuff, not with, but just with a systemic weed killer.
Well, I'll second that idea.
Yeah. And just so you can see what you've got, because basically you've got a tall grasses and things at the moment, and perennial weeds. That's what I think.
I'll second you.
Okay, so I'll propose that.
So are we trimming then
well, that's
Stim and
yeah.
kill, stim and weed kill.
Stim and weed kill,
I mean, it's I mean, this is
no
another
real
controversial
plot,
issue because they tell me to be trained to do weed killing, but
Oh,
I've just covered in the last 2 years I've done twice covered a plot that's probably an acre by hand. So yeah,
You've got the job.
So,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make progress and try to
Yes.
keep everybody,
Move it on,
We
don't
do,
we?
yeah, because
I'll go with that.
it's a real concern. It's a real concern. Is the allotments to me?
Beware of any rare Bingley weeds.
Any what, sorry?
I said beware of any rare Bingley weeds.
Yes.
I don't think we've got any. I think we've got lots
Got a
of
few
common
dandelions in the
weeds
Common
that
weeds.
need to go. That need to go.
Yeah. Just so we can look at that plot and see what we've got underneath there, councillor.
Yeah. I think we can propose and move on.
Yeah, we can. Let's move on,
yeah.
Okay, so to approve the quote for work, we can't do that at this time. To consider the size of allotment plots and to agree any actions. Now, I think we have talked about splitting some of these.
We have now.
plots.
Can I just make a point there, because I was having I was asked by Ruth to go to Stanley Street. I understand. I don't know whether they've actually. There's two plots.
Yeah.
One a long-standing tenant. I understand she's giving up. Now it's in a bit of a state. There's quite a big cherry. It has been pollarded, but it's quite a big cherry tree. It's taking a lot of light, and there's a lot of weed, etc., etc. But that one would definitely split, because there's a central path, and there's a greenhouse at each side of the path at the bottom. But Rolf were concerned about rent cost, charging the rent. Now, to me, if you split that, you've got two allotments, and that's £69 an allotment. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
What I was concerned about was, she said, well, some of the plots that we've split at Beck Lane, we talked about splitting them again, and I said, well, I can't understand that. But she said, you suggested that.
No, there were some dead areas that could be split up as a plot, weren't there?
Well, no. All I've said is we had that walk round and we talked about possibly splitting 27 and splitting 23. I mean, on this.
Yeah,
On this
but this,
thing here,
this
23 is two plots anyway. There's 23.
but this
23.
was. I mean, she just drew it out to me to give me an example, and it was like splitting half a plot
into a half a plot.
in a plot into
quarter plot.
in a quarter plot. But I didn't think that were viable. It depends on the size of the
It
plot.
depends on the particular plot. doesn't it?
And access and.
I mean, our allotment policy says plots are between 50 and 150.
Well, that's general size of an. What's the official size of an allotment, please,
You're
Jennifer?
asking now.
Oh, no, you.
Comes in rod poles or perches.
Oh, right,
No,
oh.
no, no.
Oh well, that's easy. That's 6 foot, isn't it? That's 6
Yeah.
foot. Rob Paul up. Right, okay. So yeah, so I think on the splitting, they want to be. We'll just have to make the decisions on individual plots. But to me, if you split a plot, it becomes two
Plot.
plots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it that
That's logical.
plot we discussed?
Because you were talking
The
about.
one with the wheat problem?
Else we're going back to what we were
Yeah.
before, and we're going to have it.
Because
You
that's a
know,
substance of that
A-
bit, isn't it?
Keep it simple.
So I
yeah,
don't have
yeah.
an issue with that.
Yeah, because I think it was that one.
It was that one.
Isn't that the one?
It's the one where the ladies
the
got
lady-
too well.
Oh yeah.
That was the one that
Yeah.
I would prefer it to be split.
Well,
Because
we'll
the side of it,
we'll have to. Yeah.
the
we'll
one
have
is
to look
already
at it.
done.
There's a big. There's a bit partial building in there.
There is, in the middle of it.
Yeah. So can we look at that going forward then?
Yeah.
But it needs keeping.
So
keeping
as
in
a
the-
plot comes up, we'll review it. For
Absolutely.
size
Yeah.
and-
That's what I'd like to propose. Yeah.
I'll second that then.
Plot splitting.
Yeah.
So I got that, Clark.
Yes, sir.
And all in favour?
All in
Yes.
favour?
That's easily done.
Okay.
To consider delegation to town clerk, allotments officer for small amounts of allotment spend. I'm not sure.
Propose that.
What would the amount be when
Yeah.
you say small? That's the only
Yeah,
thing. Sorry
yeah.
to interrupt.
What's
No.
it?
What's
Well-
the classification of small?
Spends.
Yes.
I would presume it's skips. That's the
No,
sum
what
spent.
would the amount
Now,
be?
the value.
Sorry, the
Oh.
value.
I
Is it
don't know.
100, 200, 300,000, 2,000?
No, I think
Well, that's
so.
for you to decide. What would your spend be?
I don't know.
What would the necessity of a value be? Why would she want to, or why would the clerk want to spend?
Well, it's just easier, isn't it? In
Yeah.
some cases.
So skips are about 100.
well, they are.
Wouldn't that come under the clerk's jurisdiction?
Well, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
What,
It must
what's?
be covered.
I think it's 500. Isn't it?
Yeah.
But it must be
I
covered.
think is it 500? That clerk.
But it
Off the
comes
top of
under.
my head, I don't know.
No,
But
no.
yes, we do have a spend.
That's what I say.
town
The clerk has-
can
yeah.
decide.
That would seem sensible,
Well,
John.
let her do it,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
comes under it.
So if it comes under the remit
Because
of,
obviously if
you know,
somebody said
financial
£5, it'd be
regulations.
ridiculous because
Yeah.
you can't get anything with
Yeah,
£5.
yeah,
And if
yeah.
somebody said 10,000, then we put in our clerks
Yeah, just
in the
let-
firing line
yeah.
because if they said yes,
Yeah, yeah.
everybody be having a go.
Yeah.
Go back to even, it goes back to
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
So
clerk.
500
Yeah.
ish
It's
sounds
already allowed,
sensible.
that's already
So
covered, John.
within
You get on with
the
it.
general
No,
policy,
exactly.
we're,
Financial regulations of the spends that
Yeah.
town clerk
Yeah.
can make.
yeah, we're happy for that.
Yeah.
For allotment work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Good. Right.
Right.
Moving on.
Moving on, ongoing issues.
22, 23, 51 ongoing issues. To receive an update on the following issues. Have you, has Eve handed any of this on to you? Given these are probably will still all be ongoing. Then the website. Debbie's looking into the website. The new website.
Right, so as far as I know about the website, Debbie's looking into the website and looking for quotes as to what we actually need and how much it's going to cost us. That's all I know about that. The 3-year budget strategy, that is also ongoing, in that we're going to look at a 3-year budget, as we are going to do a 6-monthly budget report for the full council, so they know where we're at year in year. And the internal auditor, I know that I've actually got a quote from one person. There are very limited internal auditors because we've lost ours. She's retiring, so that's ongoing too. I think that's about the report.
I take it we've taken some advice from other clerks, have we?
Yeah, we've looked at
Yeah.
other councils. We've looked at other auditors that work in our area.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've definitely got one quote through, one proposal it's called, and we're just looking at others and waiting for those to come back.
Good. Oh, you've.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
on-
right.
yeah, we're
Okay.
on to
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's important.
Sorry, Joe.
Okay.
Sorry, before I go, were you not given the risk assessment to approve
For the
for the
it's a bit later on the agenda.
Oh,
I just
right.
haven't moved it forward.
Oh,
But we'll get to it and let you know. Yeah.
I'll just,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
But the thing with the internal auditor is we need one for the year end.
Absolutely, that's what I say, it's important, yeah.
Can't let that hang about.
Because I know that Eve tried a couple of people she'd used before and they're not available.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, so no, all those 3 things are actually ongoing. Looking for quotes, looking for
Right. That's good. Yeah.
suppliers and that sort of thing. So
and I think the 3-year budget strategy, when we come to this meeting it'll be October when we start looking at the precept for next year.
yeah, and we're already
we'll have
doing
it. We'll have it.
reports on a quarterly basis, so that can better sort of like supply.
I'm going to go on mute when budget. I'm going to go on mute when budget.
I'll abstain.
I'll believe that when it happens. Sorry. Okay, so moving on. 22, 23, 52, bank reconciliations, etc. To receive and approve the bank reconciliations for July.
I think they were all right.
Yeah, they're okay, no problem there.
Proposed. Yeah.
Proposed John, seconded Mark. Everyone in favour?
Yeah.
A and B, bank reconciliation, bank statements.
Same again.
Same again.
Yeah.
Proposed. Same again. Yeah.
It's just to note the bank balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
No vote
What
on
is
that.
today's bank balance? That's what we normally get.
As at the end of July, Units Bank 192,736.92. which I'm sure Ashraf knows. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's just
I've
sent
just
me.
signed that. Yeah, it was the one night we've got the copies there, haven't we?
So I'll believe him, I'll
We
go
do,
with
we
that.
do.
So
we
into my
It's all
account.
up to date.
Yeah, it's all up
That's
to date.
it,
Yeah,
Yeah, so we just note
we've
that.
signed it.
Right, and then D, to consider a recommendation to full council regarding the email around external auditor appointments. Now, I don't know if you've read that. In the past, the smaller authorities, they,
Oh, yeah.
they go out. They have a 5-year
I-
contract.
Yeah, I just want to propose that we
That we
accept
go with
it. We
5
go with
year.
it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll
Yeah.
second that.
Yeah.
All in
All in
favour,
favour?
yeah.
We're wasting money, are we?
Yeah.
Pardon?
We waste money if we do it.
No, I just think it's.
Well, no, if we don't do it, we've got to start a procurement now and
Yeah,
have our
that's
own
right.
external auditor.
We've got to start.
We've got to have them in
Has
place.
implications, Robert, if we don't do it.
We've got to
Just
we've got
do
to
it.
tell these
Just get
people
on
who
with
they
it, yeah.
are by the
Alright,
end of
clarification.
November. Otherwise, we get fined 300 quid.
Yeah, no.
So I think everybody went with their tender process
different
last year,
agenda then.
the last time. So
Must be a different agenda. That.
22, 23, 55, speed indicator device.
53.
53, sorry. Speed indicator device.
No problem, we can jump ahead.
Yeah. What it is on this one is getting a bit not complicated, but it's just like it's a fiddly kind of
Yeah.
thing. We've got to the right point. It's just like Eve's really, gone out and tried to get some maintenance contractors to fit in the
Fit them
speed
up.
indicators.
Yeah,
But she contacted 3 companies. I think one's come back with 2,250 for each of the maintenance per year. But the problem would be, it's like they have to get approval from Bradford Council.
Yeah.
So that's another issue.
That'd be like walking
But-
through treacle with that.
Exactly. But one suggestion I would like to do is, like I said to Ruth, let me speak to Samuel Diwali, because obviously he's the
Yeah.
main chief of.
Yeah.
Highways.
So I
yeah.
spoke to him today. And
Oh, you're
he's come.
lucky.
Yeah, no, he returned my call. Surprisingly, he returned my call, so I was really impressed.
A
So
blank moment in his diary.
yeah. So he's come out with an idea which he says, might fit in with what we're trying to do, because Keighley Town Council are doing a similar exercise.
Yeah.
And he's saying it may be a good idea for Bingley to join with Keighley, because they're looking at training, kind of a training session for
Yeah.
volunteer councillors to go down. The process, he's saying, is not that complicated, and he'll explain the reasons how we can do it. And he's saying in terms of the short term, that if volunteers can help around, and he may have staff later on, because I think in terms of staff capacity, that they will be able to take it on further on the line.
Yeah.
So I'm just suggesting, if we can get some
Do we-
councillors, just to attend.
Do we think they're ever going to take it on?
Well, that's. Well, I am.
I have serious doubts
I-
that if they can't do it now, that they're ever going to be able to do
I
it.
think taking the first step is maybe
Yeah.
a good suggestion.
Yeah.
If Keighley are doing it, maybe we could.
Yeah.
At least it gets something moving, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We
Well, it
could
does.
go and
exactly.
see what the training is, can't we?
Yeah. I think what we all need to do. He's saying that if we can get a couple of, I've explained to him, our council's a bit smaller than
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Keighley Town Council, but they seem to be fairly eager. They're saying that if we can get both councils together, that they can do the training and explain it. He's saying it's fairly kind of straightforward process, but until they get the stuff in place,
They can't do, yeah.
yeah.
Can you work with Keighley?
I think that's what we could do, is speak to Keighley, and Eve's already got some contacts, so we can get the ball rolling.
I
And
think it's worth
in the
following
meantime,
through into it.
and in the meantime, if we can get some volunteer councillors interested in going on to the course, would
How are
be
you
really
fixed,
great.
Robert?
I wouldn't mind.
So
Yeah.
Well, I've probably got
Do
more
we
time
own
than
a
the rest of you.
ladder?
Oh, aye. Several.
No, I'm sure you do. I'm sure he does. Do we?
but I think on that training, I think
Right,
Philip, on
can
that
I-
training,
can I-
sorry,
yeah, go on, go
I'm
on.
just adding on that training. The Simon said his team will explain the process, how we can do it, and this and that. So they probably have a system in place. I think it'll be
There we look to give a training course to go.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about that is that we've already discussed this.
yeah.
We've discussed this at full council, and it was deemed at full council that we shouldn't be messing about going up ladders. But anyway, I'm not averse to going up a small
I don't
ladder.
think we should be messing about going up that.
No, well, that's
Personally.
right.
The problem is, John,
But
it's
if
how
we
do you
can't
move-
get
how do you move
anybody,
things forward. It's
I
like-
agree with
Yeah,
that's what I'm just saying. I said we've already discussed that and came up with that. However,
understand what you're saying.
I have no objection to us going along and finding out more about what is really involved,
Yeah.
so we can make a more
That's-
considered decision.
That's correct. Yeah, that's
I
what
think
I was
it's a very
asking.
good idea.
Yeah. At least we can work with the other
Yes.
town council. See if they can obviously find a solution. I'm sure.
Well, maybe we
They'll
can
be-
pay them to do it.
Exactly. Maybe they've got some answers.
You're joking.
Yeah.
I'm not.
No. Sorry, it was meant as a joke, but I had already thought about that.
Yeah.
No, seriously, when I've just read it
Yeah,
today.
I understand, yeah.
What you've got.
So it's-
But as I say, I ain't getting any younger.
But it still boils back to the point that despite the fact we said no, we don't want to do it because
Yeah.
of risk assessment,
Yeah.
the council are actually suggesting that you do it anyway, Bradford
Yeah.
Council.
Well, they already had.
So
They've
they're
done
already
that
forward, so,
before. They've
yeah,
already
yeah.
So
said
despite
that.
what we were thinking,
That's correct,
Keith
yeah.
are going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So we might as well
Yeah.
muck it with them.
So we're going to recommend to full council that we get some volunteers
Yeah.
to go on the training
That's
course,
right.
to come and feed back
I'll
to
second
us.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Thank you.
second your idea.
No,
Thank
problem.
you.
Good idea,
Yeah.
yeah. Go for
Very
it.
good.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
And
Very
he's going to follow it through, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
With Keith.
He will do, yes, and he's going to contact us.
Oh, he's gonna
contact.
Simon DeFally gonna. say, oh,
He's,
really?
he's
Don't hold
organising
your breath.
it. Yeah, no, but I think he's.
Wonder if he's keen for us to take something away from him.
Well, it might as well be, yeah, good
I think
point,
because
isn't it?
I think the why he's doing it because Keithley have got a few SID initiatives in their area. So
Right.
what he's thinking, rather than doing it separately, he wants to do it with
Collectively.
the town
No,
council.
no,
Which
no,
makes
makes
sense.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be worth us approaching Keighley Town Council on it?
Yeah.
I thought that's
As well,
what
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think
To-
we should.
I mean, as a direct approach,
Yeah,
and
we can
say
do
we understand this.
Yeah.
What do you think of joining up?
Yeah,
Because
we could just say, has Simon been...
Yeah, we do.
Council.
We,
You know Julie, don't you?
that's right. We, you know, yeah.
My mate Julie.
Your own friends have told me a few
Yeah.
secrets.
No, we're on. Right, I think
So-
on that, let's go back to the agenda.
Anyway,
I just realised we're on YouTube. here.
So I think, Nicola, there's already, I mean, obviously we're speaking to Simon Diwali. I think he's aware of it. All we need to do is contact Simon and Keithley just to inform that we're interested.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah,
some
no,
of things going.
Fantastic, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Let's move it on if we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be dying if we don't do something.
Exactly. Rather than paying
Batteries
this,
will run out.
So, all right, 22, 23, I'm going to get the right number this time,
Yeah.
54. Grant application, this is the...
52.
54.
54.
You might
Oh, it's I've got that
Have
other
you got the
agenda.
old one?
Yes,
The old
I have.
one.
I have.
Have you got it upside down, John?
No, because there were only A, B, and C.
Yeah.
C there's only A, B, and C. I'll find it. It's the one
Is
after
it?
it. Yeah, it's
There you
okay. Apologies for
The
that.
grant application
Okay,
for
I just want to propose that. I think we've all, hopefully, we've all looked at it,
I don't think
and
problem.
it's.
Good thing, but it's a Remembrance Day. Good.
I'll second
We
it.
can't support
All in
it.
favour?
I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, 22, 23, 55, volunteering for council work. So this is where we come back to the insurance company and their advice and what do we want to do. John, I was going to ask you, because for me, if we have this, then it needs to cover off the litter pickers, the litter champions and all that.
Well, we're all.
But it's all the voluntary work we do, isn't it?
We're all.
And are we covered anyway?
Well, as I understand it, on the litter picking, and it's in Edwina's brief, as between the ages of 16 and 85, it's covered by our insurance. Okay, is the litter picks.
But do we do what they're talking about here? Do we have the list of who's there? Do we do the report afterwards? Do we?
We have a list. We have
Sign them in, don't
We have a list of who's there. We have a list of who's left. I give a briefing before and ask them health and safety as it suggests in the. In fact, the one that I've seen was for litter picking one.
Well, it's got that's the
Element
example
in it.
that's in there. Yeah.
But it's just this about using tools and things, isn't it? You know.
Could we see what it includes and the insurance that we've already got?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's up to 100,000 for and up to 500 quid a week for 2
So
years
it's-
if you can't work, and
Can't see
ten-
that.
ten-
Yeah.
ten- 10,000,
So it employs-
£100,000 if you lose. I don't know, if you die or something like
Personal
that.
accident.
Yeah. Oh, you've got it all there.
£100,000
Yeah.
in the event of an accident causing death, loss of limb, sight, or
Yeah,
permanent.
that's it. Yeah.
£500 weekly benefit for maximum period of 2
2 years,
years.
yeah.
Should the accident prevent the individual.
But does that
pursuing-
cover all activities then, other than green and clean? Is that for everything?
This is our general insurance policy that
Yeah.
we have.
What we're
Right.
doing at the
Right.
moment, Andrew, sorry, this is the chairman should be saying, is we're looking at having a policy, an actual policy, aren't we,
Yeah.
that we adhere to.
That will cover any volunteering.
Right,
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. You've answered my question.
Yeah.
But which means we need to maintain a list of volunteers that people can opt out of.
How many quotes have we had?
No, we don't
For
have
what?
quotes.
No.
We don't have quotes for
policies.
that. No.
It's
just a
our current
policy.
insurance
Yeah,
policy for
policy.
the council.
You see,
So would that policy take away the concerns for this in the allotments?
Well, if we said this was a voluntary opportunity, we had people signed up, and we did the risk assessment, and we did the
Right.
induction briefing, and we did the end of thing
Which
report.
for every activity we do,
Right.
same process, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hopefully, same risk assessment will do.
yeah.
With a few tweaks.
And if you got somebody who were sort of strimming regularly,
Yeah.
surely you wouldn't have to, or would you have to do it every time they did it? I don't know.
Well, that's it. And I mean, I know the allotment rep and her husband and some of the other allotment holders have said they're quite happy to do some
Yeah, yeah.
streaming
Well,
on
they
the
do,
allotment
yeah,
site.
yeah.
And if we adopt this sort of policy,
Yeah.
I would think we'd give them a blanket. There'd be a blanket risk assessment for streaming on the allotments. It
Yeah.
might be different to streaming elsewhere.
Yeah.
And as long as that's what they're doing,
Yeah.
and they tell us in advance, and they go, we're doing it on this date,
Yeah, that'd be okay.
then
Yeah,
they'd be
yeah,
covered.
they'd
And
be
I
covered.
think that would be a sensible thing.
So that
for
links
us.
in with this policy here then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a case of the insurance company have said, to do for them to be covered, for volunteers to be covered, they've got to be doing effectively got to be doing activities that we know about and we're aware of, and we've effectively set up, and we do the inductions.
No, that's not a problem, is it? We'll be
The
covered.
bit that worries me most
Yeah.
is the litter champions, because they just go out and litter
Yeah,
pick.
but it's there again. When I've just issued one, it says clearly that they're doing it off their own bat. They're not insured.
They're not representing
They
being
know they're not
council.
insured.
All right, so they're not. So people doing a
I haven't got
formal
one.
litter pick.
I haven't got one here, but when you get an application form, I got some application forms, and there's a briefing sheet with it, and it explains what they do, and that they're doing it off their own bat, and they do it when they want, and but they're not covered by the insurance. I mean, you can't just get it to hand now, but have a look at that, and then you.
Okay.
It was interesting, John. There was a couple, I think it was a husband and wife, or certainly a lady and a gent, were walking round top of Eldwick, Warren Lane, and going
Yeah,
down
yeah.
towards the park.
Yeah.
And they were litter picking, and I don't know them. I didn't recognise them.
No.
And they were obviously doing it as volunteers.
Well, they are. We've about 30.
No, but doing it of their own accord without us involved. Nothing to do with Bingley Town Council.
Well, there might be litter champions.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we've got about 30 litter.
There's-
We've got them all over, and they're doing it regular. They're doing it on a
Where was it? I saw a load of bags stacked up the other day somewhere. A load
yeah,
of
purple bags.
yeah.
That's voluntary. People can bags, so they just leave them by a litter
Litter
bin.
bin, I think council take them away.
Yeah.
So are we happy that we do adopt a volunteer policy, and are we happy that we should put in place, because this has got volunteer policy that we've got has got a litter pick thing in it, but it's not got a streaming, and I think we need
Look,
to get a streaming one to allow the allotment holders.
I think we should adopt a policy, but it sounds like the policy needs reviewing and
Can we make it all encompassing?
tweaking first, and then we could vote on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Well, the insurance company need it anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
whether we like it or not, we
Yeah.
have to go down that road, don't we?
Yeah.
So we're bringing that back to the next meeting.
It depends how long we've got to amend it.
Or is there a lot to amend?
Well,
I think it needs a streaming risk assessment added, and then it's probably ready to go as a starter for 10, because
well, it could it? I mean,
the risk assessments almost could come out, because as we do things, we should do if we have
Just review the risk,
a new
yeah.
volunteering opportunity, we should put in place the risk assessment and then get volunteers to go and do it.
So to move that forward, could it be ready to put on full council agenda?
Well, it needs to be tomorrow for that.
All right.
Well, here it says hazards. I mean, about appropriate footwear must be worn. Ideally, sturdy boots covering the ankle and providing support on uneven ground should be worn. Open-toed shoes and sandals and trainers. That must be all part of the requirement for streaming. Well, covered here. We've got it.
It should be, but
I know, John. But, we know what goes on, but reality is.
I went into a estate sawmills, right? And there's a bloke there getting loads of fencing stuff, and he's got bloody open-toe sandals on to go and put fencing up. I mean, it's come on.
But I would like us to move this forward. So
Yeah.
if
I think we should adopt it
Well,
with some
can
amendments.
you want to propose? Give us a proposal then,
I propose that we adopt the policy
right?
and we make the risk assessments
Accordingly.
at the appropriate time
At the appropriate-
when we take on that volunteering opportunity.
I'll second that.
I'll third it.
All in favour, yeah, that's carried. Move on.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Great, clean and green.
22, 23, 56, green
Right.
and clean.
Right. Okay.
John.
Consider any use of discarded, defected wooden sleeper formerly at the hub. If you go have a look, you'll see what is going to happen to it. Okay? Because it's in place now.
Oh, is it?
Absolutely. Nothing's been
It
done.
was chucking it down when I arrived.
Nothing's been done.
What's its use then?
It's there's a planter outside here
Raised bed.
with at the moment it's got a few plants in because it never got planted up properly, and it's got a big what do you put with lamb?
Mint sauce.
Mint sauce.
No,
mint.
t'other one.
Rosemary.
No, yeah,
No, is it rosemary?
no,
Thank you, God.
no. I've forgotten.
Thyme?
I've forgotten.
Thyme?
No, it's. Oh shit! I know it's what. I know well enough. Right.
Someone's
Anyway,
got in
that's
there.
by the by. The thing is, there was another one at the other side. Robert, this is for you. There's another one at the other side which I would ask to take out so that I could do the changing places. I took it and put it round here, and then Philippa said it could go there, and I measured it, and it's exactly the size, and I've dropped it in, and it fits absolutely perfectly.
You don't charge for your services.
What
I'm
about
not allowed to.
It's just round that corner.
Just round the corner.
All right.
Yeah. So it's just an L shape now.
All right, so I stack of it there, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've organised it and put it.
I've put it back now. Yeah.
Good,
So
all
I've
right,
been.
that's good.
So it. I just wanted approval tonight that that's what's. And I've just told you what's going to happen to it.
Well, I'll second what's already happened.
But I'll put a bit of membrane at the bottom so that it'll retain a bit of water
aye.
upside, and then I'll fill it in with.
So it's basically going to become a planter again.
It's going to be a planter, and it's going to look nice. And I'm going to take that rosemary. Did you say rosemary?
I
She
did
did,
say that.
yeah.
Sorry, I think
Thyme.
it's rosemary. No, it's rosemary.
It will be rosemary.
Yeah. That one's taken out. I think that what they call it, Incredible Edibles might have planted that, but I'd prefer it to be a nice for this area, nice, colourful.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
sorry,
So-
what
so-
are we agreeing on here? That
John's already done.
The planter will be where it currently is, and it will be planted up.
Yeah, we're retaining it on site. That's a good way to put it, isn't
The
it?
double row of sleepers is reforming as a planter and being
Yeah,
planted.
yeah. Right.
Put the liner in and he's going to replant it.
Consider recent Olympics and upcoming. I'm suggesting the next litter pick will be at Britannia Bridge because I've been approached by Andy Alderson to
Okay.
say
Yeah.
that Timbridge, what was that Canal and River Trust and Bradford Council are doing a 5-day clearance of all that area,
Are they?
and they're trying to take everything. I think it's everything except the trees, isn't it?
Yeah.
They take it, yeah.
Take as much as they
And
can.
and I haven't heard anything since then. So I looked at my calendar and blow me, 10th of this September is right when they're doing it. So I just thought that'd be a good place, and we'll meet at the other side of the. I thought we were going to meet, but we meet at the other side of the bridge in the streets at Monaghan Roadside.
Good.
So Clark, you can make a poster for me. We need to write to
Yes, I
people.
will do.
What did I say? Next meeting. That's it. Apart from we're ongoing, plants are ordered. Watering. I asked at full council for anybody to highlight any problems with watering. It seems to have gone extremely well. Apart from about a fortnight ago, Carlton rang me up and told me that there was some wanted watering, but we got them watered within a couple of hours, didn't we?
Literally.
The
Yeah.
water, the Carlton water anyway.
No, Bradford Council.
Bradford
We have a
Water.
contract with Bradford Council to water.
Oh, I thought it was Carlton that did the
No,
water.
no, they won't. They won't do it. There's two contracts, Mark.
Yeah.
One,
the platform.
both 3-year contracts.
Yeah.
One a progressive contract from Carlton, money wise,
Yeah.
a slight increase each year
Yeah.
for the next 3 years
Yeah.
to supply the plants.
And
And
erect
to
them and
put
install
them up and take them down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other one is a fixed contract from Bradford Council to water for 3
them.
years.
Oh, right. I thought I always thought it was Carlton that did the
No,
water.
well they did.
Well, it was
They did
until this
initially,
year.
but he decided it was too much.
But we were onto them, weren't we? And they,
Pardon?
we were onto
Yeah,
them.
well, between us because he rung, Carlton
That's
rung
all right,
me,
yeah.
and I told Nicola, but then I thought I had the contact with Brian Dobson. You see, trouble is Brian Dobson's sick and he's been off for ages, and it's when you write to him, nothing happens.
Nothing happens, he goes into a black hole.
But I think they call him Glenn, he's second in command. I rung him direct and he said he'd get on with it, but by that time Nicola had rung Mrs Dobson and got it sorted. So between us we've sorted it.
Oh, good.
But
Are we
there-
going
didn't realise-
to have any issues with the drought?
I'm going to ask that question. What's Bradford's policy on it?
Will they continue to water or will they stop? Or do we know?
I'm not sure when I'm not sure when the actual contract expires. So not contract, the period expires. I'm not sure whether it's end of September or end of August when they stop.
Standpipes are going up next week, aren't they? End of this week.
Standpipe,
Not standpipes, but
not standpipe, hosepipe.
hosepipe. The ban comes in
There
at
is
the end of this week.
26th,
Yeah.
26th, yeah.
Have you?
We had some rain.
Yeah, oh, we have, yeah.
I know, but that's
Just bounce out.
I mean, no, let's. Yeah. So that's where we are. Yeah, with that. It's been agreed that I purchased some separate bulbs from what we if you leave that with me, I'll sort it out.
okay.
But I need to get to know a couple of things from Eve really regarding the VAT position. If I buy them from a retailer. And I get a VAT invoice, can you claim it back? Yeah, I thought you could. I thought
So
you
it's
would be able to do.
it's the price without the VAT that we pay.
Yeah, yes, but
But
what I'm saying, if I go buy something from a retailer, if I have a receipt, but does it have to have an official VAT receipt or?
Yes, you need an official VAT
Yeah,
invoice.
yeah. Okay, that's all I want to know.
or is it?
Because if I
We'll
buy,
take it outside, but is it going to be easier for John to find them and then for
Yes.
someone else to
No,
buy them?
That
Well,
would be the best way.
possible.
You find them, I'll order them.
well, there again, if I'm talking about just, I saw some that I need, and it's because of the VAT, it would be cheaper to buy them from where was it? Up Twines.
Let's talk about it. We can do it on the
Absolutely, I'll do that with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, as I say, I wanted to ask Eve anyway. Yeah, okay,
Just
that's
speak
good.
to me and,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
sort
sort it out. Yeah. But the other, if it's from the catalogue, that'll need to be an order,
Yeah.
and then you can send it directly to my house, and then
Yeah,
I'll sort
we
it
can
out.
sort that, no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, okay. So I don't think I don't know what the, if you read all the stuff from Yorkshire Water, etc., businesses are not exempt, but they're sort of exempt as regards a lot of these things. We're trying not to upset.
Council will be as well.
They're
won't they?
trying not to upset businesses and that. So
I think businesses could use it for their business purpose, but I'm not sure what watering flowers.
well, it's
Well, the
then
horse
again,
pipe ban stops you watering plants in your garden, doesn't it? That's effective.
Well, it's
no,
just- but it's not
It
really used
stops
as
you
hosepipe, is it?
watering them with a hose
Hose
pipe.
pipe,
That's
yeah.
all.
Oh no, I've got.
I suppose that man's
drums
got a
full of it.
Bowser that's going round,
I've got a load
doesn't
of
he?
tubs full of water. So.
Well, it's a good job you haven't got my garden, because I had over 1,000 litres, and it goes in a week. Goes in a week. Yeah.
But,
Anyway, so that's I think that's it for green and clean at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
22, 23, 57, the consultation from Bradford Council, the alcohol public space protection order.
They're looking to continue it on, aren't they?
This is just a renewal.
Yeah.
We've had it for 3 years. I went to a partnership meeting and the police said their preference would be for us to keep it. Said there isn't really a problem in Bingley, but it's another string to their bow if there is an
If they need
issue.
it, yeah.
Propose it then.
Propose seconded, all in favour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick.
Seal funding.
22, 23, 58, SIL funding to receive an update.
Right.
I don't think we've spent any more, have we?
No, we haven't spent anything. no.
John's got his eyes
I'll
on
spend some for you. Right. So I asked if I could make scope out getting electricity to the bandstand for the benefit of concerts, people in Bingley, etc. Brian Dobson, as I told you, has been ill, so basically I didn't do a great deal. But then I asked again, and he's still ill, so I took some advice, and I've spoke to Mel Smith, who you're talking about getting stuff done with Bradford Council now, okay?
Yeah.
So I wrote to him, and I got an email back to say we're off for 2 weeks, and they were back on the 15th. So the 15th, which was last Monday, he came back. I rung him. By the time I got home, he'd got in touch with a chap called George Corbett, who's the chief technical man.
Yeah.
He also was going on leave that day till this Monday. I've spoke to him this morning, and had I've also had a quote from Charlestown.
Yeah.
When we did Festival Lights, I took the electrician boss to look at it. He's given me a spec. He's given me a quote and a spec. It's in that email I sent you and Eve and Nicola. So he is going to Bradford Council's is written and is copied us in this afternoon to say that in this conversation that we had, he's consulted the electrical department of Bradford Council to look at the spec and see if it's a suitable spec, and will they follow it up and get us 2 more quotes. So that's where I'm at the moment.
Oh, very good.
I also asked the man, George. I said, "Is it?" He says, "But I know you've heard this before, but we're all busy." And I said, "Right. So is it okay if I get back to you within a month if I haven't heard anything?" And he said, "Yes, chase me." So that's where we're at.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Unfortunately, there was supposed to be a band playing yesterday, and I went down to see it, and they didn't turn up. So
they didn't want power.
It were well, they don't need. It was a brass band, I think. I think it was, but they flagged it up at Friends of Myrtle Park. You see.
Yeah.
Which
I'll
say to YouTube that they have their hub open every Sunday now between 2 and 4, I think, for 2 hours.
Where's Bob going to pull his juice from?
Where we're looking at and where he's planned it, you know where they've put that CCTV camera up.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, there'll be a supply to that,
So take it from
and
there.
he must think he can get off of that.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, but he said there's controversy about joining stuff up with
with essential services to
CCTV,
Yeah.
and also Mick Taylor, who used to be a councillor here, were telling me yesterday that if you get, you can get these fancy things with these is it Codex cables or something that you might
coaxial
need.
cables.
Yeah, and it forms like a magnetic field around it or something
Yeah.
if they get them too close together. Anyway, that's electrician's job.
That's
not
why
mine.
they'll sort that out.
Yeah. So that's where I'm with that bit of SIL funding. The other bit of SIL funding.
Oh, another bit.
Well, I told you that I'd like to get something done with that job at Tottenham. Well, I've had one chap to look at it, and I'm just awaiting but that'd be a risk and resort grant application.
Yeah.
That's a separate issue.
When is the next grant? As a matter of interest, when is the next grant application to be considered? Do we do it every so many?
No,
months?
it's every 3 times a year.
For SIL, we've got defined times, isn't it? I think it's...
Yeah, no, it's the grants. It's well, off the top of my head. It's
November one, and then it's about every 4 months.
I think it's June or July off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And then it's on the website anyway.
Yeah.
It's something like October,
And you have to have-
September, October.
And you have to have application in month before, I think.
Yeah, 3 times a year.
Yeah. So that's where we're at with that. Okay.
No one else has got any clever ideas for SIL monies?
No.
Shh, don't.
For John's slush fund?
No,
How much have we got
I
to
don't
spend?
say the allotments.
I mean, how much
no,
have
we've
we
got money for a
well,
lot. We've got money allotment. Sorry.
How much have we got to spend? Or when have we got to spend a certain block of money?
There's about
There's about
19
10 grand, I think, that we've got to spend relatively quickly.
yeah, but it's
Next
only
year
been
too.
2 years or something.
1819 was like 9.5 grand. 1922,
It's not
1,700.
anywhere.
2021, 4,200. 2122, 1,800 so far.
But how many years is it? 3 or 5?
5.
Okay, see
It's
what
you've got a 5-year grace.
Yeah,
so
no, what I'm saying,
yeah.
do we have to spend some, 10 grand of it by end of this year or something?
No, I don't think so. No, because is it 1819 the first one?
Yeah, so we've got to
So
spend it by next
1819.
year.
So we've got
9, 20, 21, 22,
Before
23.
next
Oh yeah, we're
All
all
right, so
yeah, definitely all right. And that's just for the first one,
Yeah.
and then next one will be 5 years.
Yeah, no, I understand that, John,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's just that.
But the first one's the big slug of money.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
that's what come from Aldi, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll spend that for you.
If anyone else has any ideas, please bring
I will
them
have
forward.
now.
because I know it's in an agenda item. We'll talk
move
about
on,
that after.
yeah.
Yeah, let's move on then. 22, 23, 59, risk management. Has anybody got any new risks they want to raise?
I think we're well covered, aren't we?
I think so. We are at the moment. In terms of the management and risk assessment policy, we've had our first meeting going back through the risks, moving them onto the new scoring system. We've still got some more work to do, but that will come back to this committee in due course. Anything anyone wants to say on risk? No. 22, 23, 60, date of next meeting. To note the date of the next meeting for the public. Anyone who wants to come, Wednesday the 14th September at 6:30 at the hub here.
Well, I won't be here, so I can offer my apologies. I won't be at this meeting.
Neither will I. Ashraf will be chairing.
Right.
Did we know that?
Yeah.
That's why I left.
He said yes before we started the meeting.
All right, good.
So moving on then to 22, 23, 61, exclusion of the press and public, to resolve that members of the press
Problem.
be
Proposed.
excluded. Proposed by John, seconded by Robert, all in favour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll stop recording.